you crafted shutter watchers, and today is something amazing for you Final Cut Pro users on rendering stock clips and saving yourself a lot of time. And of course my goal for this channel is to make your life better. What's the purpose of it without that? I'm going to highlight a clip right here. I'm going to hit E because that's a shortcut for dropping it on the timeline. So in previous workflows, I would take the clip and I would go ahead and do all the color corrections with it, do whatever I wanted. I'll change it here a little bit, whatever, okay? And then, of course, that would render out on the timeline. And then I would go ahead and go up to File, Share, share, and I would export the video usually from a device, let's just say Apple device 1080. I would have to add a destination in and do a share and each clip. Then I would go have to do next and then render it out to where I wanted to save it. So let's just say I want to put it on my desktop, hit save, and then I would then delete the clip and then bring the next clip in, set the markers here on the timeline for my clip, and then hit E, drop it down, go through the same process of color grading, go through the same process of rendering it out and picking something in here. Now, like I said, in here you can make custom export settings from compressor. You can send it to compressor as well, but I have not. This is a brand new system, a new fresh install of Mac OS X since my Mac Pro had some issues, so I don't have my custom settings here in compressor turned on yet. So that's my workflow for stock video as far as just setting it, rendering it, setting it, rendering it. As you can see, that's quite tedious, okay? So it's not very fast. Now, let's jump over for a moment. You can see that clip is still rendering right there and sharing out. So I'm just going to go ahead and X that just to cut it off because don't really need it. All right. Now, I'm going to take these clips. You're going to see me hit E. This is a shortcut for putting them on the timeline. And I'm going to hit Shift Z, and that is the shortcut to, down here, to put them all, move them all together on the timeline so you can see your whole project. So that's Shift Z. Now, I have all these clips down here, and of course I can just take the footage that I do from my shoot and drop them into my timeline, and I can do the cutting up here or I could do the cutting down here. It doesn't really matter. Also, some trick here is you can import video only, so that way if you're doing stock you can just go ahead and knock out the audio automatically. So if you trim it up here, then hit E, drop it on the timeline, then you don't have to worry about the audio. Now down here, then you could go through, you can leave your color window open if you need it, or you can go in and do some stabilization if you needed to on a clip. And let's just see, if I wanted to stabilize a clip, you just click it there, and you see that rendering out, okay? So that's how I would do it. Now, as you saw before, I have to go one at a time in order to render them out. So what I wanted to show you here is that I want you to look under File, which I showed you before, and Share, and you're going to see Frame IO Source right here. And on the new Final Cut Pro, it can allow you to use some apps, and that little app, this little extension is what we call it, is open right here. Now, this is a free app, so if you go to the App Store, and I just clicked out of Frame just to pull up the App Store, and type in Frame IO, I have to spell it right. You're going to see it right here, and it is a free download. There is no charge for this, okay? Now, Frame.io is a paid service, but we are not going to use any of the paid features because we are going to use the export things of Frame.io, but we're not going to send any of this to the cloud, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now here's where you're going to save a load of time. Now, case in point, if you don't see those two things, the export, the share settings there, make sure you're logged in, and then make sure that all of this is logged in, that you get that. When you install the app, they should appear in the share menu, okay? Two ways. Now, what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to, let me go back up here and show you the share settings. We've got source and we've got H.264. For stock, H.264 is absolutely fine. And for source, you could set your timeline right here, your properties of your timeline, to be what codec you want, what frame rate you want. That way you could export your source. If you want it to be in ProRes or something else besides H.264, you could use a ProRes and do this as well. Now, the only extra step that you need to take is you highlight your clip and you hit M, and this marks the clip, okay? And this is going to make a lot of sense here in just a moment. So there are my 4 marked stock clips. Now I'm going to go up into the file share. I'm going to go to H.264, okay? And the project settings or everything is already lined out, 1920 by 1080 H.264. I have 29.9 frames a second, okay? So that's what I want. That's what my stock clips are shot in. Okay, and now I'm going to hit next. And it's going to open up a dialog box from Frame.io. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on clips. We're going to turn the timeline off and we're going to highlight clips. We're going to hit export clips with markers. Now, I just used a regular marker. There are different types of marker. That's the standard marker, to-do marker, whatever. You can use those to export, but you just need the standard marker, just like I showed you, hitting M on your keyboard. Next, you can come down here and pick where you want your work to go. And I have it on my working drive, which is my scratch drive, and we will look at that folder as soon as we're done here. If you don't have a project, go ahead and create one. Just create new project. I put a tester here for this. Just, you can create whatever, because we're really not using it, except we need one there. Now, the next thing we're going to do is that's all you have to do right there. And now you're going to just hit upload. Okay? And what you're going to see here in this corner is the rendering process for these clips, and what they're doing right here is batch rendering all of these clips. I know this one was highlighted. Batch rendering all these clips into your folder. So I'm not going to have you wait around to watch this. I'm going to speed this up, and then I'm going to show you the folder and where the clips are, so you can do this too. Here we go. Okay, everybody, here we are back. And yeah, I just paused my screen recorder while that was rendering, and you'll see the share was successful. I'm going to close that. I want you to come up to the Frame.io thing, and I want you to hit pause, but I want you right away when you come in here, this box is going to pop up, and I just want you to click the X so that that does not load up into the cloud on Frame.io, because if you start putting a bunch of clips up there, it's going to cost you money. So this way, if you knock that out right away, that is done. However, the good news is the clips have still rendered into the folder that I selected. So I'm going outside the record zone here and opening my working drive, and we're going to go up here to the top, and you'll see FCPX, which was the folder that I had. I'm going to double click on that and see stock 1. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are my clips right there. And so they're all rendered out in that folder. And we had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And all the files are right there. So you can go in here and you can delete this stuff out. You don't really need it. Move it away, throw it away, because all your stock clips are rendered right there, ready to be uploaded into your stock site of choice. So hey, that is the workflow in Final Cut Pro to batch render your stock footage. And I really hope that this has saved someone hours, if not days of time. I am telling you, if I knew that this was possible about 10 months ago with Final Cut Pro 10 when this came out on the Final Cut Pro 10.4.4, I think. And I just really caught on to this a few months ago. And I've been using DaVinci Resolve to do the same process. But I just want to cover and help as many people as possible. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, get involved. I thank you for your support, for using my affiliate links at a link below to any products, to anything you can do to help the channel. It is muchly appreciated, and we will see you, yay, in the next video.